The rain fell soft and steady, a silver curtain over the forest. Beyond the trees, a river wound its way through the valley like a long, patient sigh. Mira had been walking for hours. Her boots were soaked, her hair clinging to her cheeks. But she didn't mind. There was a strange peace in letting the rain find you, in giving up control to the world around you. The old map in her pocket was almost ruined now. Ink smudged, edges torn. But she still knew the way. The river would guide her. She found it at last, a narrow path leading down to the water, hidden by ferns and low-hanging branches. The river spoke as she approached. Not with words, but with a low, endless murmur. A secret language, older than memory. Mira knelt by the bank and closed her eyes. She let the mist beat on her skin, let the hum of the river soak into her bones. In the stories her grandmother used to tell, the river could remember. It carried the echoes of every voice that had ever whispered to it. If you listened closely enough, you could hear the ones you had lost. She stayed there a long time, breathing in the damp, rich air, listening. At first, there was only the rain and the current. But then, a thread of something else. A faint sound, delicate and sad, woven through the river's song, almost like a voice, calling her name. Mira opened her eyes. Across the river, where the fog clung to the earth like a sleeping creature, a figure stood. It wasn't clear. Only an outline, blurred and shivering in the rain. But Myra's heart knew. She rose slowly, the mud clinging to her hands. The figure lifted a hand, beckoning her forward. The river between them seemed to deepen, its surface dark and restless. She hesitated. The river whispered louder, urgent now. And then, without thinking, without deciding, Mira stepped into the water. The cold hit her like 1,000 needles. But she kept going. The river pulled at her, strong and greedy. Every step was a struggle, her legs sinking into the silt. The figure on the other side didn't move. Just waited. Mira stumbled, the current seizing her ankles. She gasped, and the river's voice grew frantic, a cacophony of memories crashing around her. Still, she fought forward. Because somewhere deep inside, she knew. The river did not call everyone. Only those who were ready to remember. The current grew stronger with every step. Myra's breath came in short, frantic bursts. The rain mixed with the river's spray, blurring the world into a swirl of gray and silver. She slipped once, a sudden plunge beneath the freezing surface. For a moment, everything was silence and wavelessness. The river cradled her, pulled at her coat, whispered against her ears. Come deeper, it seemed to say. Come and remember. She kicked upward desperately and broke the surface, coughing, her arms flailing for balance. Through the mist, the figure still waited. Closer now, almost within reach. Myra's fingers brushed something solid, a submerged log, rough and steady under her hands. She pulled herself forward, using it as a bridge. The river hissed and roared, furious at her defiance. Her body ached. Her mind blurred into a single, stubborn thought: keep going. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, her boots scraped against the rocky shallows. She staggered out of the river, drenched and trembling. The figure stood only a few feet away now. Mira squinted through the mist, her heart pounding. It was a woman. Older than Mira, but somehow familiar. Her hair was threaded with silver, her eyes deep and kind. The woman smiled, a small, aching smile, and Mira felt something inside her loosen, like a knot finally unraveling. She tried to speak, but no words came. Only a sharp, sweet ache in her chest. The woman stepped closer and pressed something into Myra's hand. A small, smooth stone, warm despite the rain. Mira looked down. Carved into the stone was a single word: home. When she looked up again, the woman was fading, like mist dissolving under the morning sun. Mira cried out, reaching for her, but there was only rain, and the whisper of the river. The stone in her hand pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. She closed her fingers around it, a warmth spread up her arm, through her chest, filling every cold, broken place inside her. The river's voice softened, turning almost gentle. You are not alone, it seemed to say. You never were. Mira sank to her knees in the wet grass, tears mingling with the rain. She pressed the stone to her heart and listened. The river no longer roared. It hummed, a soft, endless lullaby. And within its music, she heard them, all the voices she thought she had lost. Their laughter, their songs, their endless, patient love. alive in the river. Alive in her. Mira sat there for a long time, letting the rain and the river's song weave around her like a warm blanket. She thought of all the nights she had spent feeling alone. Of all the days when grief weighed heavier than hope. She had believed she was adrift, a single leaf lost in an endless storm. But here, by the river's side, she understood, she had always been part of something bigger. Something timeless and kind. The river didn't just remember. It carried the love of everyone who had ever touched it. It whispered their dreams, their hopes, their forgiveness. Slowly, Mira rose to her feet. The world around her seemed softer now, the mist less heavy, the trees less distant. She tucked the stone into her pocket, its warmth a steady reminder against her skin. Each step she took back toward the path was easier than the last. The rain began to ease, turning into a fine mist that kissed her face. Up ahead, the forest opened into a clearing she hadn't noticed before. Golden grass bent gently under the weight of the rain. Wildflowers nodded in the soft wind. And in the center of the clearing stood a small, weathered cottage, smoke curling lazily from its chimney. A light glowed from the window, warm, welcoming. Myra's heart leapt. Not with fear, but with the sweet ache of recognition. This was not a place she had seen before. Yet somehow, it felt like coming home. She crossed the clearing, roots sinking into the soft earth. As she reached the door, it swung open with a soft creak. Inside, the air smelled of fresh bread, of rain-soaked wood, of lavender. And there, sitting by the hearth, were faces she had not seen in years. Her grandmother, knitting a scarf with nimble fingers. Her father, humming tunelessly as he mended a chair. Her mother, smiling over a steaming cup of tea. Tears blurred Myra's vision, but she didn't wipe them away. The stone in her pocket pulsed once, gently. A reminder, she had crossed the river. She had remembered. She was home. A chair waited by the fire, a cup of tea steaming on a small table. Mira stepped inside. The door swung closed behind her, shutting out the last whispers of the storm. Inside, there was only warmth, and light, and the endless, comforting murmur of the river singing far beyond the hills. And in that moment, Mira understood, some journeys don't take you away from yourself.